Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday live chat on the Early Wedge. My name is Sia Nejad, and of course, on Wednesdays, I'm always joined by Rick Gehman. Rick, how you doing today?
Sia, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is a team event. We're a team. This is we're the duo. Do you have a favorite duo, like whether it's sports or non-sports related, or maybe one of each?
Sonic and Tails.
Solid.
I guess Batman and Robin, but I missed the era. I missed the Robin era. The Batman for me was always like Christopher Nolan's Batman, like Dark Knight situation, which there's not a ton of Robin. So no, I don't know. I'm thinking Sonic and Tails.
Is it weird that Sonic and Tails is your answer and you don't have kids? I feel like that would be
but I was a child at one point. So.
That's true. That's fair. It's just far removed from it. I thought you would have gone with like sports or like TV characters, or like mine would be like Frasier and Niles and Abed and Troy from Community.
What is the best sports? You know, it used to be what was it like? I remember like Scotty and Pippen. And then
Scotty and Jordan, you mean? Yeah.
Sorry, Michael. Scotty. Yeah. How great I am at basketball. Scotty and
Kobe and Shaq.
Kobe and Shaq. Who was Tim Duncan and David Robinson? They played together for a couple of years, right?
They did. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching this show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast later, tweet at us, maybe put it in the chat who your favorite duos are. Speaking of the chat, Rick, go ahead.
Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
That's a good one. Football combos are good. Somebody yesterday, because I tweeted something out, they said Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, which is obviously
that's great.
A good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you have some, put it in the chat. Speaking of the chat, though, Rick, like this is the type of event where it does feel like a lot of people. I'm not one of them. It's fine though if you're kind of thinking this is an off week, a bye week for you from a betting and DFS standpoint. I'm not talking about you personally, Rick, but like a lot of people are sort of in that mindset. How are you treating this event?
Same as ever, right? For me, I understand it though, right? I guess, listen, we've had 2 very exciting weeks with the Masters, the RBC Heritage, and then this is kind of a weird event with probably a lot of names that people aren't familiar with. I would understand if they're like, hey, I'm going to take a step back, or maybe I'm only going to play 1 lineup instead of 10 lineups, or I'm only going to make 1 bet instead of whatever that is. Like I get that. For me, however, this is just a different problem to solve, which that's what I like about all this. I like trying to solve the problem. So this is a different problem. It's obviously a unique structure. You do get some names that we've got, like, okay, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive on him. I don't know what he has been up to. So these are just a different kind of challenge, but I generally approach it the same way.
Yeah, the different problem to solve. So that's sort of how I attack golf every week. I'm like a kid, like it doesn't matter, like for me, and I'm different. And I completely acknowledge that I'm in the minority, but like every tournament almost feels the same to me, because to me, Rick, it's a problem to solve. I get pricing that comes out Monday morning, and that's just so exciting for me. To me, and I've made this comparison to you on a show before, it's probably years ago, but when pricing comes out and when odds come out, but particularly with pricing, it feels like March Madness bracket. Like, okay, I'm getting a new bracket. Like, that's what it feels like to me on a Monday. So yeah, this is a little bit of a different event, and it's hard to know how to attack this event, like as conclusively as we might think we know how to attack like a singular event. But I love the problem nonetheless.
There's a field of golfers. They're playing on a golf course that has unique elements to it. There is someone who is going to win. Someone's going to finish second and third, right? Like that is all going to happen again. So we might as well try to figure out what that order is going to end up being.
All right. Well, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We already got a couple of questions and comments in the chat. We do think this could be a lighter show because of the sentiment that we just discussed. With that said, let's start. I'm going to start with a question, and then Rick, maybe you and I, while we're waiting for questions, maybe we'll toggle back and forth a little bit and talk about maybe some of our outrights and some of the teams that we might be leaning on in DFS, because I have some takes, particularly in that 7K range. Really like a lot of teams. Randy Ortiz says, what's up, fellas? Randy, thanks for watching this show and the Early Edge. You've had questions on both, and we appreciate you for that. He says, Hostler and Putnam, who that's a team not a lot of people are talking about, over Cameron Champ, and that's Lanto Griffin, right? In a 2-ball -125. Your thoughts there, Rick?
believe that's Ben Griffin.
Is it Ben?
No. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, sorry. That is Cameron Champ and Lanto Griffin. Ben Griffin is playing with Andrew Novak. So apologies. Yeah. So this is interesting. So the way that this format ends up working out is having an elite skill set is really valuable. Cameron Champ has an elite skill set. He is a masher off the tee. That is helpful. Andrew Putnam, he's a very good putter. Bo Hostler, sneaky long, is well-rounded. I think I do like the Hostler Putnam side. I think both of those guys are probably better than the Champ Griffin side. And if you remember, Sia, Lanto withdrew last year. Now, unfortunately, in this sport, in the current day and age, like, there has been no follow-up. He was not forced to show up on Tuesday and tell us what percentage his back is at or anything like that. But it was enough for him to withdraw. If he were to WD before the event, Cam Champ would be assigned a new partner, and obviously this matchup would be voided. But if Lonzo did have to withdraw during the tournament, which call it 3%, 5%, I don't know, they would both WD. So there is at least a little level of that. So long story short, I think Randy is on the correct side of this, which is the Hostler Putnam side.
What's interesting too is Hostler has a new partner this year. He was with, because Hoey and Ryder were with different guys last year. They're together now, and I think they're a kind of a popular team. They're one of my first round leader teams. I absolutely love Rico Hoey and Sam Ryder as a first round leader. I think it's like 45-1 or 40-1. I can't remember. But I think it's interesting that Hostler, I think he was with Ryder, and Rico Hoey was with Justin Suh last year. I do think that's interesting that Hostler has a new partner. I'm just going to throw that out there because it's not like he's a slouch that, granted, he hasn't had a great season, but like somebody wants to abandon. I don't know what the backstory is.
You know, one of the things that talking about this event is unique. It's different. It's cool because it's partners. There is still an element missing of, one, how did these guys get together?
Yeah.
How sick would it be to draft partners?
Well, we talked about that on the early wedge. We had like crazy ideas yesterday on the betting show about that exact thing. Jason Sobel brought that up, and then we were trying to be like, well, okay, if we do that, then like, what's the incentive for like Rory to come in if he thinks he's going to get like drafted or like be stuck?
Well, with Rory would get first pick.
Yeah.
So you could, I guess, but I'm spitballing here. Based on your OWGR or your FedEx Cup standings, number one gets the first pick, number two gets the second pick, number three gets the third pick, so on and so forth.
But I feel like you'd almost have to like put players in different quadrants because it wouldn't be fair to do what he's doing right now, which is like taking Shane Lowry. Like but
he's getting Shane Lowry anyway, right? Rory McIlroy can call up anybody and get them to show up. So if Rory McIlroy had the first overall pick, he's not taking Colin Morikawa, he's taking Shane Lowry. Yeah. So that wouldn't really change. It would just add an element of drama and intrigue as the draft rolled on, and you'd probably have to like cut the teams in half or something like that. But I don't know. If you want to bring drama, we'll figure it out.
If you want to bring drama to this event, you have a draft. Maybe it's the week before, maybe it's on the Monday, whatever it is. I think that would make this event like a lot larger in terms of the spectacle of it, because it's not that big right now.
No.
All right. And by the way, I like this 2-ball. I don't know if this is 2-ball. I guess this is a round 1 2-ball as opposed to a tournament matchup, but I think Hostler and Putnam over Cam Champ and Lanto has not been good, like, by the way. No, he had to withdraw, like, who knows what kind of shape his game is in. I think this is a really good find, Randy. So I'm going to look at that myself. Scott Wise says, do you like Kitayama and Morikawa? Rick, not a lot of people talking about that team. And I wonder, because ownership's going to be kind of finicky this week for obvious reasons. I feel like it's going to be kind of hard to figure out, but Rory and Shane going to be popular. And I'm just talking about the 10K range. And then we've got like Keith Mitchell and JT Poston. I think they're going to be rightfully popular.
Yeah.
I think Robert McIntyre, Dietrich, and believe it or not, I think Colin and Kurt Kitayama are going to kind of get squeezed out a little bit. What are your thoughts here?
Agreed with that. You can kind of see it in the betting markets as well. Poston and Mitchell opened up at like 19 or 20. They've already been bet down to 16. They're going to be a popular team in fantasy formats. Shane and Rory, obviously. Mm-hmm. The problem with the Kitayama Morikawa group is a couple of things. Colin has played this event 4 years in a row, and it's never gone well for him.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a great golf course for him. I don't think that him having to share a golf ball with someone else is a good thing. I think that he's got his stuff figured out. But he didn't play particularly well at Harbor Town. His Saturday round was brutal. A lot more of those wipey fades that you see from him when the game is not as sharp. And then Kurt Kitayama's just not had a good 2025. So I understand the concern. It is a little jarring to see them. I mean, it's based on name value that they are the second shortest odds, the second favorites to win this golf tournament. But I cannot imagine I would have much exposure to those guys.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have much exposure there either. And it's interesting because Scott's follow-up comment to his question is, how do you know these guys take it seriously or whether it's for fun? And listen, it's impossible to get into the heads of anybody in this tournament, but it is obvious. There is one thing that's obvious. There are certain guys that are at the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the board, I should say, when it comes to FedEx Cup points, or they need that 2-year exemption. Like, there are teams, especially in that like 7 and 6K range, but like I'm more talking about like the 7K range in DFS, or like that 50 to 1 market, 40 to 1 market, that like need this tournament a lot more than a Rory or a Colin. And they probably come in with a completely different mindset, right, Rick?
Yeah, there's a lot on the line. I think each guy gets like 1.2 million. They get each gets credited a victory, so that's what, a couple of years worth of a job in place. So right, doesn't matter for Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy, but like Rasmus and Nikolai Højgaard,
yeah,
Nick in a Ryder Cup year, right? Nico is well down the list. He was on the team in 2023. Rasmus is currently 4th in the Ryder Cup standings. This would be a nice just get in for. Luke Donald's playing this event. Hey, Captain Luke, look what we're doing. We're going to go out here. We can play together at Bethpage. Look at what we can do. So that, I think, is interesting. And then, yeah, I mean, listen, the idea of, some of these European partnerships like Laurie Cantor and Jordan Smith, I mean, to snap off a PGA Tour victory for those guys would be massive. Even like McGreevy, Sam Stevens, there's basically everybody, but like the top 5 teams have a ton to play for, outside of just, showing up and being good partners.
There are so many sneaky teams. You mentioned Stevens and McGreevy. Jason Sobel is on them for an outright. By the way, my first 2 outrights that I bet Sunday night when the odds came out, I guess I probably bet it at DK. I know the BetMGM odds came out Monday morning, I guess. It was the Højgaards. And I was just like chemistry, talent, just kind of like desire, like all of those intangibles. That was 30 to 1 when I got it. The other one was Max Grazerman and Nico Echeverria. I see them as big time scores. It's like team all putt as opposed to team no putt. But I think this course will actually, be good fits for them. I think they complement each other really well. Just so everybody knows from the betting show, the other outright I bet was Garrett Kigo and Ryan Fox, and I think that was 50 to 1. And then I had a couple very long shot sprinkles that we don't need to be too concerned about. Rick, were there any outrights? 2-part question.
Sure.
Right when the odds came out and the teams and the odds, were you like, I got to bet this guy, like this team pre-research? And then was there a post-research team? Because Higo and Fox were kind of my post-research team, even though I had an eye on them pre-research. And then the 2 that I fired were, of course, the Grazerman, Echeverria, and the Højgaards. Yeah,
the first one was Poston and Mitchell. They were 20 and
yeah,
they're down to 16, and I kind of knew that was going to move. Everybody loves Keith Mitchell. This is probably one of the better spots for Keith Mitchell, right? I mean, we're still waiting for Keith to win a golf tournament. Like, okay, this would be a good spot. I love the way that Poston is putting again. So that is one team. And then what I did is I did like a lot of finishing positions. So, I went down and took the Pauls at Jeremy and Yannick to finish inside the top 10. That was like 5 to 1. I think that there are some good opportunities on like Ryan Gerard and Danny Walker to finish inside the top 10. I will probably, so I only have that one outright in. I will probably fire another one here today before, obviously before lock. I don't know who it's going to be yet. I think it might end up being, so the team that's actually grown on me throughout the week is the Aaron Rai Sahith Thagala group.
Mm-hmm. I can't come around to them. I'm trying to let that grow on me, but go ahead and sell me on it.
They are the 5th and 6th best player in this field, something like that. Historically, Sahith has been miserable. Aaron Rai's been great. We have seen a lot of times over the years that this format can be a slump breaker.
Yeah.
You just, things are not going well for you week to week. You just need somebody to rely on, change the vibe. It's like when in baseball they fire the manager and a team goes on a run. Like nothing has changed. The players are all the same. You just need to hear a different voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that has proven to be the case in the past. Sahith has also won. This is really stretching it now, but he won the QBE shootout, which is a similar style of event, much smaller field, with Tom Hoagie a couple of years ago. So that is the team that has absolutely grown on me in the last couple of days.
The Sahith take is a really good one. He gets so down on it. And okay, all golfers get down, but it becomes so emotional for him. And like you see it in the moment every time he hits a bad shot. And I think he realizes, and he's seen his potential. I do agree with you that having a voice in his ear saying, hey, no, we're all good. Or like, you hit that great. Don't worry about it. I think that's huge for him.
And Aaron Rye is resolute. Like he is laser focused, sturdy, and strong. He is not going to deal with this getting down on yourself thing. Like he is a good partner for Sahith. So yeah, I'm now talking myself into it. So I will probably bet that one as well.
I think we have a question on, I think I'm skipping around here, but this is just an interesting question. I'll come back to yours, Jeff. I think Scott's asking, which brothers do you like? So that would be the Paul brothers, the Fitzpatrick brothers, and the Højgaard brothers.
Oh.
Which reminds me, Rick, do you remember a few years ago when I said Dylan Wu and Brandon Wu were brothers, and you were like, no, they're definitely not.
They are not. No relation. That's funny. Clearly the Højgaards are the best brothers. Nico has been bad. Rasmus has been a lot better. If I remember correctly, they already play the same golf ball. I can't speak for the other guys, but that goes a long way in a format like this.
Interesting.
The Fitzpatricks are probably not my favorite, all things considered, especially with like the pricing. Matt hasn't been that good. Alex has actually been better, but this is still like Matt has been so bad on approach. Like you just cannot be competitive on the PGA Tour if you're spraying it the way that he's spraying it right now. The Pauls are interesting. The Pauls are much longer odds. So again, this is all relative. They're both coming off their single best finish of 2025. So Jeremy finished runner-up last week in Punta Cana, and Yannick finished third last week in China. It's a hell of a trip back from China to New Orleans, so maybe a little bit of jet lag. But they're both playing great golf right now, and I think they're semi-dangerous here.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big spot in my heart for the Paul brothers from COVID and the Outlaw Tour. That was like two of the first names I remember like making DFS, like his golf was the only sport in town, and it was the Outlaw Tour. It wasn't the PGA Tour for some period of time. It's actually really cool to see them playing in this tournament. We've seen them on the PGA Tour before, of course. I don't think I'm going to have any investment in the Paul brothers personally. Again, I bet the Højgaards outright, so like I'm in on that. And as far as the Fitzpatricks, I'm a no on the Fitzpatricks. Dano says thoughts on Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett at round one leader at 3,500. By the way, Josh, I don't know. And by the way, Josh, I want you to come onto the show in a few minutes and maybe after the break and talk about maybe some teams that you like. This is like, I wonder if you're going with vibes or you're going with metrics in terms of maybe a couple outrights that you might like. But Sepp Straka, Bryce Garnett, round one, 3,500. Thoughts?
I don't like this team. Listen, this is a chaotic event. You're going to see some really weird stuff here. I think on paper, Sepp has slumped a little bit. Bryce Garnett is okay. He hits a lot of fairways and greens. I would prefer a lot more firepower out of guys, especially in a single round sprint. I would prefer a lot more firepower than what I see on paper out of Straka and Garnett. So I'm not in on that group.
Yeah, I'm not in on that group either. But as far as first round leaders go, Josh, can you pull up my first round leaders from yesterday? I actually picked 4, which in an 80 team event is kind of a lot. It's like 5% of the field. It's not egregious, but I kind of wanted to go with 3. And if you want to leave one of these out, this is everybody's first round leaders, including Jason and Patrick McDonald's. They only have 1 and 2. They agree on JT Post and Keith Mitchell. I agree on JT Post and Keith Mitchell. Højgaards is my next one. Graysman, Echeverria are my next one. That would be the one to leave out just because they're in the afternoon. And then Rico Hoey, Sam Ryder is such an easy click for me for a first round leader at 45-1. So those are my first round leaders. I'm also not playing Sepp Straka or Bryce Garnett in the first round leader market or in the really in any market. I'm not playing them in DFS or betting them either. All right, let's get to a couple more questions and comments and maybe Josh's take on who he likes this tournament. We're going to do that right after this message from our partners.
The crowd loves champions.
Gladiator 2 is an epic spectacle.
To amuse you is my only wish.
The glory is yours, not mine.
Very good.
Gladiator 2, rated R, now streaming on Paramount+.
Tyler Miller has a great question, Rick, and we're back on the Early Wedge brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. He says, I know ownership is always important in DFS, but is it even more important this week with the nature of the event? Seems like a good time to fade the chalk more than normal. So I think this is kind of a complicated question because ownership could be a little tricky, but the answer to this is a big, fat, bold-faced yes. Right, Rick?
Yes. In short, Tyler, yes. In long, a lot of favorites, or at least guys towards the top of the board, have won this event. Shane Lowry, Rory McIlroy, Cantlay Schauffele, Leishman, Cam Smith, John Rahm, Ryan Palmer. But I mean, outside of there have been like a lot of 6K teams that finish inside the top 10 here. And whatever team that Colin Morikawa has been on for the last 4 years has been one of the favorites, if not the favorite to win. And that team has underperformed significantly. There is so much luck. I hate to admit it. There is so much luck in this event. And that is especially in the best ball format. The alternate shot is so difficult, especially for guys that don't even know each other, don't even play the same ball. So yes, this is about as chaotic as it gets.
Are there teams that you can think of right off the bat? Like I don't know how many lineups I'm going to make. I'll probably actually do the $100 single entry, even though I was kind of like, maybe I won't do that this week. I'll probably do a bunch of like that $10 max 18, a handful there, all the single entry, like $12, 30. That's going to add up for me to like 8 or 9 lineups, probably maybe 10 or 11. With that said, I think I might just full fade Rory and Shane because I know how popular they're going to be. And I understand they're clearly the cream of the crop. But there's other teams too, like Poston and Mitchell, I'm not sure what to do with because I think they're going to be really popular. And as we scroll down, I'm just like looking at names. I mean, Ryan Sahith maybe gets some ownership. Outside of that, I'm looking at the 8K and 7K range. Who are some of these popular teams? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, how about you?
The Højgaards will be popular. I think Fox and Higo will be popular. I think that Fitzpatrick, like anybody that has like any little narrative or story, right? I think like the Bramlett Smalley group models well. They could be pretty popular. It'll be relative because there's 80 teams, right? And a lot of them are going to be very, very low owned, if not owned at all. So it is going to get concentrated around, like Shane Rory, Poston Mitchell, Rye Thagala, Hoagie Horschel, the Højgaards, the Fitzpatricks, a little bit on the Paul. It'll be pretty clear who the popular teams are, I think.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question for you. With the knowledge that, like, if it's chalk at the top, but you think that chalk is going to win, you should probably play them. But what's your take on Rory and Shane?
Probably full fade. It would be, they're going to need to win to kind of get you there. Again, we talked about the luck. There's a reason that nobody has gone back to back here. It's very difficult to do. We have no idea what the current state of Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy after probably what was a very significant Masters celebration. And I think that you can save the money, even if you just if you want to play Thomas Dietrich and Robert McIntyre out of the top, go for it.
That's a good leverage play, right? I mean,
nobody's going to own them. Yeah. They are both incredibly talented. Their game is not super sharp right now, but again, that's kind of the point of this. If you wanted to start, these are going to be two popular teams, but if you wanted to start Hoagie Horschel, Rye Sahith, that's starting at $9,400. They're both going to be popular, but that's probably going to be a pretty unique place to start.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you on the 10K range. Like, people aren't going to get to Dietrich and Bobby McIntyre. They're going to see them as overpriced in the first place, but also neither of them playing particularly well. I'm a big Thomas Dietrich guy, not so much Bobby McIntyre, but I think that team could absolutely have a great tournament. I think that's a really interesting contrarian play. I'm not going to play a ton of them, but I'll probably be quote over the field on them because I'll probably include them in a couple of lineups, and that should end up being over the field. All right, is Cole and Saunders a psycho punt play?
I mean, yes, you would have to be a psycho. This is the week where you could not rule anyone out, but I do not want anything to do with this team. I know they are great friends. They're going to have an awesome time. Sam Saunders has no status anywhere for a reason. Okay. If we were playing this at Bay Hill, might be a different story. We're playing it at TPC Louisiana. This is not where I'm trying to be a psycho, right? Like I would, if I was going to go down that deep, because they are in the 6K range, right? They are very, very cheap. They are $6,500. Yeah. I would rather Patton Kizzire and Ben Coles at $6,500. I would rather Mason Anderson and Matt McCarty at 66. I would actually, the team I actually probably like more. Now you might not be able to afford them, but like Isaiah Salinda and Kevin Velo at $6,800.
Yeah.
Are two competitive golfers on the PGA Tour right now. Cole is having the worst year of his career, and Sam Saunders has no status anywhere. Like that. Yes, you have to be a psycho to do that.
Yeah, I definitely think like I'm not really dipping into the 6K range, but the names you mentioned, I really like. I'll mention Chris Ventura and who was it? Antoine Rosner. That was my deep outright at 100-1, just FYI. I think those guys have plenty of upside. I don't think you need to go less than 6,800 personally.
Works for me.
All right. Let's see. Would you sprinkle on Donald and Villegas?
No.
Yeah.
That is also, I mean, this is a long golf course. Luke Donald was short when he was the #1 player in the world. These two are cool. I love them. They are great for the game. They're going to be sick at the Ryder Cup. They're probably going to lead Team Europe to an upset victory, but them having any chance to win the Zurich Classic is bonkers.
Yeah. I do want to ask you about Bud Cauley. Who's he playing with again?
Oh, Kevin Tway.
That's what it is. Any thoughts? Is that just you're done in alternate shot kind of deal?
You just have to be perfect in alternate shot. You have to stay on script, right? You have to let Kevin Tway hit the drives because he's long, hope he doesn't get you into trouble. And then Bud Cauley has to take it from there. So like once they get off script, they are cooked. And Bud Cauley has done such a good job of grinding and golfing his own ball and picking up strokes basically throughout the entire bag that the shots that he doesn't hit are going to be worse, right? Like he is, this is really bad to say, but it's not like, it almost feels like it's 1.5 players instead of 2 players, right? Because the shots that Kevin Tway has to hit are going to be worse than field average when Bud Cauley is so good or has been so good there. So that stinks. I wish Bud Cauley was playing with somebody that was a better fit.
Let me ask you about Carl Phillips. Jeff Stenberg says, I'm a big Team Phillips guy. I think Sia is also a Phillips guy too. I am, because I hit him at 70-1 in Puerto Rico. He's playing with Michael Thorbjornsen, who's been awful until he wasn't, which was basically actually the last couple of tournaments for him have been okay, particularly last week where he absolutely could have won. Jeff is the biggest Thorbjornsen fan of all time, and he actually made the observation that it would be great if Thorbjorn Olesen had played with Michael Thorbjornsen, but missed opportunity there. Any thoughts on this team? FYI and DFS, they're 8,300.
So this team will win or finish dead last, right? So this is about as large of a range of outcomes as you could ask for. I like that for this week. I am definitely bullish on this team. These are two 23-year-old kids who have nothing but raw talent, immense upside, immense scoring power. Thorbjornsen has not been good this year. Like you said, Sia has played better recently. Carl Phillips almost duck hooked his first 2 drives on Saturday. OB got lucky, and one of them hit a tree 30 yards out of bounds and bounced back, and he made par from there. Another one he almost hooked out. He made birdie. And then he shot the round of the day. So like he picked up like 5.5 strokes on approach. These guys are incredibly talented. They're incredibly raw. I think this is that time to shine because it's unlikely they both make bogey, right? When they're playing their own ball, I think you're going to see a lot of birdies from this group. Their alternate shot prospects are, I'm scared, but I'm interested in this squad.
What you just described with almost hitting at OB and all of that stuff, it reminded me of Novak on 12 and 13, as you and I are holding a Justin Thomas ticket and we're like, oh, we're in good shape now. And then it's like, wait a minute. It's
the camera
a perfect shot of the fairway.
The camera pan where it pans right slowly and then quick back to the center of the fairway is like, was vomit inducing.
But you realize, like, so on the next hole, when we see the same thing, we're like, okay, ball don't lie. Like, okay, we're making up for it. And it's like, no, we're not.
Nope.
It's just as good.
I know. I was ill.
I want to point this out, and Josh, then I want to bring you on, see if there's any teams that you like, just in general. But so I'm looking at this 8K range because that's worth not Olesen. That's where Michael Thorbjornsen and Carl Phillips live. So Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor probably going to be pretty popular at 8,600. I'm personally not playing them, but I'm just throwing that out there. Fox and Higo probably going to be pretty popular. I am probably playing them. I have them as an outright. Highsmith and Toasty, Team Alejandro. I think they're kind of whatever. Then you got the Fitzpatricks. I do want to point out that Phillips and Thorbjornsen probably not going to be highly owned. And I also want to point out a team that I don't think is going to get any ownership, Rick. 8,500, Norgard, Moeller, and Jesper Svensson. I think that's a super sneaky DFS team at 8,500.
Yeah, because Svensson putts the lights out. Like, has picked up, I don't have it in front of me, but like 4 strokes putting in like 7 out of his last 8. Like, putts the lights out. And Norgard is a masher off the tee. So yes, they have 2 really strong kind of like I said, like almost like elite skill sets, right? So yes, that you're right. No one will play them.
Yeah. Josh, do you mind dipping in here? I do want to get another perspective. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
We're better now.
Yeah, exactly. Better
well, you
now.
Said you were great earlier. It kind of sounded like you were worse now that
I know.
Here,
well, Sia's worn me down over the last 31 minutes, so I'm good again now.
Demanding.
It is 31 minutes on the Zurich Classic, so it's one of those things. You never know how it's going to go. I do want to know, Josh, where your head is at, and I got to ask you. I know you're kind of familiar with the metrics, and you watch more golf than anybody. Did a team jump out to you right away before you saw odds or anything? Were you like, oh, this is the team I think I'm going to back, outside of maybe Lowry and Roy that you liked maybe?
I think Hoagie and Horschel was there for me early. I think someone asked earlier, how do I know if someone's going to care about this week? Billy Horschel's going to care about this week because, one, he's won this event both as a team and as an individual, but also Billy Horschel cares every single week, every single second. I mean, it's not Rory, it's not Tiger, the TGL superstar. It's Billy Horschel, the TGL superstar. And this week won't be any different. In general, apart from 23, when Nick Hardy and Davis Riley won this event, the team event is won by a team that at least has one like really good player, like really good, like teams come out of nowhere and finish 4th in this event. Ramey and Trainer, Bremen and Hubbard last year,
Fox and Higo, Grazerman, Echeverria, T4
Stevens
last
and
year.
Baryan, like that was the top 5 after Rory and Shane. But really good golfers win this event, like most events on the PGA Tour. It's Rory and Shane last year, Xander and Patrick Cantlay in 22, Mark Leishman and Cam Smith the year before that, when Cam Smith was on his way to winning a major championship that year. He had just beat everybody except Dustin Johnson at the Masters in the fall before that. 2019 had a guy named John Rahm on the winning team, along with Ryan Palmer, who had like 4 top 5s on the PGA Tour prior to the Zurich that year. So I think it's really fun to get into which team way down the board finishes 7th, and I can find some value there. But it's highly unlikely, especially on those days where you have alternate shot. Like, that is a very technical day, and it's in a lot of ways harder than golfing your own ball for 18 holes. As a result, you're probably going to get one of these groups that has a name you're familiar with contending on the PGA Tour actually winning the event.
It's interesting, Rick. I mean, as far as Lowry and we saw this on the betting show yesterday, EC was betting the without Lowry and McIlroy market, which I'm not doing. But to Josh's point, what's interesting, I think there's like arguments on both sides, because if you look at the leaderboards, yes, Josh is right. Like the elite teams are winning, but they're also like going to playoffs against Martin Trainer and Chad Ramey. And we see, the Nick Hardys and the Davis Rileys, and we see like Echeverria last year, Grazer, like just random names that are in the top 5. But to Josh's point on the other side of it, when you get to alternate shot on Sunday, you need that really good player to like dial in when it's really important to dial in. And that's maybe why you see them eventually separate late in the game.
It's hard to describe how difficult alternate shot is. And, I know Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele make it look very easy, and they do crazy stuff, but it really does separate these guys. Even using different golf balls with different spin, that to me is nothing. Josh and I could play completely different golf balls. I would not be able to tell the difference between my golf ball and his golf ball. These guys can. And it is like a huge deal for them. So yes, it is a real thing. And I love that they changed it. It used to be best ball on Sunday, and now it's alternate shot on Sunday, which is like really when you see the knees shake a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what part of the reason I like this event is because of the alternate shot on Sunday. I mean, I like the alternate shot on Friday too, but I just think that the theater of that, knowing that the partner has to rely on the other guy every single time, I just think that's really, really interesting. Let's see. Music Mr. 112. I appreciate the response. Hubbard Brem quit gambling play. Do we have any thoughts on Ryan Brem? He can bomb it, right? Josh, you have any thoughts on Brem and Hubbard?
Zero. Great course history. Top 2 last year.
They've played together before, right?
Yeah. They went crazy in 4-ball last year, 61-64.
Yeah.
And ended up shooting. They were 24 under, missed out on the playoff by 1. I think they might have bogeyed the last hole.
My interest in these two is minimal at best.
They're 6,600, so that would be the only reason to like really consider them. If you're playing a Shane Lowry team and you're I keep saying Shane Lowry first for some reason. You're playing Rory and Shane, and you need the salary relief. I mean, Hubbard's been okay, but like not really. Like I'm out on these guys.
Shane Lowry is actually a lot easier to say than Rory McIlroy. You have to, if you say Rory Mac, it sounds like you have marbles in your mouth, right?
That's
it's like hard to say. Shane Lowry just rolls right off the tongue.
Josh, I want to direct Joseph Boza's question to you as well. And by the way, we're probably going to get out of here in about 5 minutes. If you have any questions for us, put them in now. And if you're watching us on Twitter, A, thank you for watching. But B, if you actually have questions or comments, come into the SportsLine YouTube page and just type your question. Make sure you're subscribed to the page. Type your question in here. We'll try to get an answer. Or maybe you have a comment. Maybe you have a favorite play that you want us to consider. That's always helpful for this show as well. How far down the betting board? So Josh, I do want to ask you, if it is going to be an elite team, is it one of the top 10 teams? Like would Hoagie and Horschel be as far down as you would go?
Well, as a proud owner of a Phillips Thorbjornsen outright ticket, the answer to that question is no.
Let's go.
And now I'm Jeff Stenberg's favorite SportsLine employee. But seriously though, I'm not going probably. I mean, Hadwin and Taylor, I don't think they're going to win, but I wouldn't have any problem with somebody picking those two guys. If you go down the board, I like, what if just one of these really awesome players is just really, really good and their quote unquote lesser teammate has a solid week? I mean, Akshay Bhatia could just be awesome. And it's Carson Young, right, that he's playing with.
Yeah.
40-1 down there. Matt Fitzpatrick is a major champion. I mean, I know they haven't been any good, but there have been flashes here and there from Fitzpatrick in the last month, 6 weeks or so. I don't think they're going to win either, but that's where I would go down the board. Is you just get lucky with the B guy on the team, and one of your better players just has a really nice week.
I think Josh's description could apply to the Straka Garnett group, where Straka is just like the best player in the field for that week, which wouldn't be that inconceivable. And Bryce Garnett, who hits a ton of fairways and hits a ton of greens, just does that and just plays steady Eddie, and Straka goes nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely living in that 30 to 50 to 1 range because I think this just lends itself to a lot of variance. But this is an interesting question from Scott. Is this a live betting tournament? Rick, I think it depends. Like if Rory and Shane are at the top and we're going into Sunday, no, I don't think it is. But I do think it's a live betting tournament going into Sunday potentially with things really changing to alternate shot. What are your thoughts?
It's going to change a lot. And if I remember correctly, it is like logjam city. Like like you're going to get 12 teams within 2 shots, and then 3 holes later there's either going to be 20 teams within 2 shots or 3 teams within 2 shots, right? If I remember the way this kind of plays out correctly, I would say everything's a live betting opportunity, right? The thing about golf is because you do get the breaks, right? Every night, you get the breaks every night to assess the entirety of the board. And then also getting a format change, I do think is important, especially after seeing the way teams play an alternate shot the first time on Friday, and then sitting there on Saturday night and assessing that board and seeing, okay, well, what did they do in alternate shot in the second round? Is there a chance they can repeat that? Was it unsustainable? So yeah, I think that like Saturday night is going to be very, very fun to look at the board and try to figure out.
Totally agree. I love that take. Let's see. Jeff Stenberg says, let Josh host.
Let him
seems
cook.
Like a smart guy with a Phillips ticket. Can I say, Josh, if Phillips and Thor Bjornsson win, I feel like you should host the next live chat. If that ticket comes in.
I'm in.
All right.
We'll get Jeff in here too.
Yeah, Jeff, you can join the party as well. Actually, you would deserve it with all the Thor backing. Let's see if there were a couple more questions before we get out of here. John says, could you guys touch on McGreevy Stevens? I can tell you that Jason Sobel likes McGreevy Stevens, and most of the crew on the betting show, which was Patrick, me, and EC, kind of agreed with that. I'm not going to bet them. I think McGreevy's kind of fallen off a little bit, but again, recent form, I'm not too concerned about. I do think it's a good course fit. Rick, any thoughts on McGreevy Stevens?
No, I don't have an opinion on those guys.
Fair enough. Maybe DFS only, but I'm probably out on them. John, Josh, do you have any thoughts on McGreevy and Stevens?
No. If Stevens was like putting his face off or something, and McGreevy like led the field from tee to green at the Players, or was like through 3 rounds. That would have been a fun combination if the other guy just couldn't miss on the greens, but that's not the case. He's been either right at average or losing on the greens. So if the puzzle pieces fit a little bit better, I think that'd be fun. But I think I'm good there.
All right, we'll probably close with this question again from John. He says, Patrick Patrick talked about this yesterday, the Ramey lower team. That seems sneaky. If Ramey is upgrading his playing partner, he must be interested or invested, he says. Either way, your thoughts on Chad Ramey, who, again, obviously has some good course history here, and Justin Lower?
I think that Ramey will take any partner that will get him into this field, right? I mean, like, I don't know if that is necessarily a tell that he has changed partners here. So I want nothing to do with that squad.
How much are you investing, Josh, in Chad Ramey's recent form here?
If I made $525,000 at this tournament last year, I'd probably put some investment back into it again. Yeah, those paychecks aren't coming all that often for Chad Ramey, and that's what I'd be doing too. So upgrade, see if you can cash in again. He only made, all of this is relative, of course, but he only reached 6 figures in a tournament twice last year, and one of them was here at this event.
Well, what was the other one?
The other one was...
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rick. Come on.
Hold on. This is such a great... I'm going to assume it was an alternate event.
Or a fall event.
You would be incorrect. Both of you would. It was a primary event before this event last year.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, so that rules out like the SIGs probably, because he probably didn't get into the SIGs. So I'm going to say Houston.
Look at you. This is why they pay Rick Run Good.
Was it Houston?
You got it?
This is why they pay Rick Run Good the big bucks. He finished in a stretch where he went cut, T50 at an alternate event and then finished second here in New Orleans. He finished T17 at the Houston Open last year.
So basically after this week, the rest of the year, he didn't crack.
He made $1.2 million on the PGA Tour last year, and he made basically 700 of it from the Houston Open and Zurich last year.
Where else do you get the Chad Ramey monetary deep dive? Rick, that was impressive. Really good stuff. Rick, good stuff from you. Josh, great stuff from you as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Early Wedge. We do it every single Wednesday at 10:30. Rick, we'll see you on Friday for the round 1 and round 2 recaps, setting up the live betting opportunities on Saturday and Sunday. And then, of course, speaking of live betting opportunities, our Sunday show at 1 o'clock. I actually think that's going to be really interesting from a live betting standpoint with that alternate shot. So join us Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's me, Mike McClure, Jason Sobel, probably Patrick McDonald on that one too, where we talk about the live bets that we're making in the moment and that we're going to make some money on Sunday afternoon. On behalf of Rick, on behalf of Josh, on behalf of this Early Wedge team, we'll see you next time on the Early Wedge.